There are certain rites of passage that mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. The bachelor or bachelorette party is the modern ceremony for the final moments of single life. A last hurrah with close friends before taking the plunge into marriage. It's a tradition built on celebration, friendship, and creating memories that will last a lifetime. But what happens when the pursuit of one last wild night goes horribly wrong? When the very celebration of a new beginning leads to a sudden, permanent end. These are the stories of bachelor and bachelorette parties that didn't end with a hangover, but with a casket. Case 1. The party bus door. Our first case takes us to Norfolk, Virginia, in the early hours of Saturday, October 27, 2018. A group of women were celebrating the upcoming wedding of a close friend. The bachelorette party was in full swing aboard a 1998 Ford Cutaway party bus, a rolling nightclub taking them through the city. Shortly after 1 a.m., the bus, driven by Michael Wheeler, made its way onto the eastbound ramp of Interstate 264 from Waterside Drive. Inside, the party continued. One of the attendees was Keisha Latrice Marrow-Lott. In the midst of the celebration, as the bus accelerated onto the highway, Keisha lost her footing. She stumbled towards the front of the vehicle, right near the main passenger side door. In a horrifying instant, the unsecured door swung open. Before anyone could react, Keisha fell out of the moving bus and onto the hard asphalt of the highway ramp. The party came to an abrupt, screeching halt. She died from the impact of the fall. Virginia State Police investigated the incident, but the driver, Michael Wheeler, was not charged. It was a tragic, preventable accident, a celebration that ended in the blink of an eye, simply because a door wasn't properly secured on a moving vehicle. Tragedies like this are a stark reminder of how quickly things can go wrong. If you appreciate these stories and want to be reminded of what not to do, consider subscribing to Final Moments. Now, back to the countdown. Case 2. The breath-holding game. Next, we travel to the seemingly tranquil waters of Lake Sinclair, Georgia, on August 4, 2018. A group of about 15 men had gathered for a bachelor party, celebrating a friend's last days of bachelorhood. Among them was 23-year-old Robert Zachary Bunsa, known to his friends as Zach, a former high school basketball player from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. The party was in full swing on a warm Saturday evening. Around 6:40 p.m., amidst the casual fun, a challenge was born. It wasn't a dare or a prank, but a seemingly harmless game. Zach decided he wanted to see just how long he could hold his breath underwater. Captain Brad King of the Baldwin County Sheriff's Department would later describe it as a kind of, let me see how long I can hold my breath for type of thing. Zach submerged himself near a dock in about 5 to 10 feet of water. Above the surface, the party continued. The minutes ticked by. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. In the chaos and celebration of 15 friends, no one was counting. No one was watching. It wasn't until several minutes had passed, what Georgia Department of Natural Resources Corporal Lynn Stanford estimated was over 7 minutes at least, that the group realized Zach was still gone. Panic set in. One of his friends dove into the water, frantically searching near the dock. He found Zach, motionless, and pulled him to the surface. But it was far too late. Zach was pronounced dead at the scene from drowning. What started as a foolish, childish game ended in a completely avoidable tragedy. With 15 friends around, not a single one noticed a man disappear underwater for over 7 minutes. It was a fatal lapse in attention. A dumb game with the ultimate price. Case 3. The hotel window screen. For our next story, we head to the historic mining town turned casino hub of Black Hawk, Colorado, just 35 miles from Denver. In the early hours of Saturday, August 17, 2013, a bachelor party was underway at the Lady Luck Hotel and Casino. For 29-year-old Dirk Anderson of Thornton, Colorado, It was a weekend of celebration with friends. Sometime during the festivities, Dirk decided to take a seat in an unusual spot, the ledge of an open window in his 11th floor hotel room. He wasn't just perched there, he was actively leaning back against the window's screen, a thin mesh designed to keep insects out, not to hold the weight of a grown man. In a moment that defies common sense, the flimsy screen gave way. Dirk Anderson plunged from the 11th floor, his fall ending abruptly on the roof of a parking garage 5 levels below. He was killed instantly. Police investigated the scene and found alcohol at the party, though it was unclear if Dirk had been drinking. They found no evidence of foul play or horseplay. It was simply a case of a man making a fatally poor decision, placing his trust in a paper-thin barrier separating him from a deadly fall. It was a tragic, and frankly, a profoundly dumb way to go. Some decisions are not just dumb, they're deadly. These stories serve as a warning. Keep watching to see how a dream vacation turns into a nightmare. Case 4. The Wine Country Massacre. Our fourth case is a grim reminder that sometimes the danger isn't from your own actions, but from the reckless decisions of a total stranger. We're in New York's scenic North Fork, Long Island, a popular destination for wine tours. On Saturday, July 18, 2015, a group of 8 women were out for a bachelorette party, celebrating an upcoming wedding with a day of wine tasting. The group included 24-year-old Lauren Baruch, 23-year-old Brittany Schulman, 23-year-old Stephanie Belli, and 23-year-old Amy Grabina. Shortly after 5 p.m., their hired limousine had just left Vineyard 48, and the driver was attempting to make a U-turn on a popular, busy road. At that exact moment, 55-year-old Stephen Romeo was driving his 1999 pickup truck on the same road. He was drunk. As the limo turned, Romeo's truck slammed into its passenger side without mercy. The impact was catastrophic. One witness, Lynn Lulfs, described the horror. The pickup truck was halfway through the limo. We saw bodies hanging out of the left side of the car. They looked like young girls. It was just arms and heads and hair. Police Chief Martin Flatley called it one of the worst accidents I've ever seen. 3 of the women, Lauren, Brittany, and Stephanie, died at the scene. Amy died a short time later at the hospital. The other 4 women in the limo were seriously injured. In an act of pure cowardice, Stephen Romeo fled the scene on foot, but was arrested nearby. He was charged with driving while intoxicated, and his bond was set at $1 million. 4 young lives extinguished in an instant during a celebration of life and love, all because one man made the selfish, criminal decision to get behind the wheel while drunk. Case 5. The Costa Rica rafting disaster. For our 5th story, we head to the lush, tropical landscape of Costa Rica, a paradise destination for adventure seekers. In October 2018, a group of 14 friends from Miami flew in for a bachelor party, renting a house in Playa Hermosa de Jaco for what was supposed to be a weekend to remember. On Saturday, October 20th, the group decided to go whitewater rafting on the Naranjo River. There was just one major problem. The region was under an active flooding alert from the National Emergency Commission. The river was dangerously swollen from recent heavy rains, but the rafting trip went ahead anyway. Around 3 p.m., the group was navigating the turbulent waters when disaster struck. 3 of their rafts flipped over, tossing the men into the raging current. 5 of them were swept away downstream: Ernesto Sierra, Jorge Caso, Sergio Lorenzo, Andres Denis, and their local guide, Kevin Thompson Reed. The other men clung desperately to their rafts or were rescued. Survivor. Chris Comas later recounted the horror. What was meant to be a weekend to remember for 14 friends turned into a living nightmare. Throughout the dangerous ride down the river, all of us struggled to stay above water, swallowing lots of it on the way down as our bodies ricocheted against the rocks in the water while struggling to survive. All 5 of the men who were carried away died from drowning. The rafting company, Quipoa Expeditions, came under investigation for negligent homicide. They had taken a group of tourists onto a river that authorities had already declared to be dangerously flooded. It was a fatal gamble, a catastrophic failure to heed clear warnings, and it cost 5 men their lives. Case 6. The Roadside Catastrophe. Our final and most devastating case takes us to upstate New York, to the rural town of Schoharie, about 30 miles west of Albany. On the afternoon of October 6, 2018, a group of friends and family from the Amsterdam, New York area had rented a stretch limousine to celebrate a birthday party. They were on their way to Brewery Ommegang, a popular destination near Cooperstown. The group included 4 sisters and 2 recently married couples, all looking forward to a day of celebration. But they would never make it to the brewery. As their 2001 Ford Excursion limousine approached the hazardous intersection of state routes 30 and 30A, it failed to stop. The limo sped downhill, crashing into a parked, unoccupied SUV and ultimately killing 2 pedestrians in the parking lot of the Apple Barrel Country Store before landing in a shallow ravine. Every single person in the limousine, the driver and all 17 passengers, was killed, bringing the total death toll to 20. It was the deadliest transportation disaster in the United States in nearly a decade. What followed was a horrifying investigation that uncovered a sickening trail of criminal negligence. The limousine, operated by Nauman Hussein, had been ordered out of service by the state after failing 2 separate inspections. Its brakes were dangerously deficient, and a repair shop had falsified records to hide the issue. The vehicle was certified to carry only 10 people, but had 18 seats installed. To top it all off, the driver lacked the proper license endorsement to operate a vehicle of that size. The company owner, Nauman Hussein, knew about all of it. He knew the vehicle was unsafe, yet he continued to rent it out to unsuspecting customers. In May 2023, he was found guilty on all 20 counts of manslaughter. It wasn't an accident. It was a massacre born of pure greed and a complete disregard for human life. 20 people, including 4 sisters, died celebrating a birthday, their lives cut short by a rolling death trap that never should have been on the road. From a faulty door on a party bus to a criminally neglected limousine, the stories we've explored today are more than just tales of parties gone wrong. They are stark warnings about the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of a single, dumb decision, whether it's a foolish game, a moment of carelessness, or the criminal greed of others. The final moments can arrive when they are least expected. These celebrations of new beginnings became the ultimate end, leaving families shattered and futures erased. They serve as a grim reminder to always be aware, to never take safety for granted, and to understand that no party is worth dying for. Thank you for joining us on Final Moments. If you found this video impactful, subscribe for more cautionary tales. Until next time, stay safe.